Good evening, everyone. We bless God for this wonderful opportunity. First, I give honor to the Most High God. I thank God for this great opportunity to stand before you today. I give honor to the Mistress of Ceremony, Sister Cynthia Goldston, to Commanding Officer Colonel Holtz, to honored and distinguished guests, all the men and women of God, all God's children, most importantly, my husband. God bless you. I am truly honored to stand before you tonight and to hopefully champion the cause and all of the legacy and the contribution of African Americans, what we have contributed to this great country. I only have 10 minutes. That's what I've been told. And because I do know protocol, I am going to try my best to make it in 10 minutes. God bless you. I'd like to tell you, first of all, that I am a pastor. I am a preacher. I am a woman of God. I don't sing. I don't praise dance, but I do preach. And so therefore, I'm going to do what God has gifted me to do, and that is to frame this presentation in the narrative of Moses. I want you to understand today, because Moses is like many of you that are here present with us. Moses was a mighty man of God, and we stand today as Moses did and the giants of those who championed the causes of African American and those who battled in behalf of all people. They gave their very lives. Some of them shed blood, sweat, and tears. And they endured the torrents, and they endured many things, even to the death of their very lives. Like Moses, who challenged Pharaoh, the princes, and the powers, and who said that some people are to be on top, and there are other people who are to be on the bottom. That's how it's always going to be. But it is because of people that, like you, and the people that we stand on their shoulders, who champion the causes for which we made this America great. It is those who were still very disciplined and who championed, who stood up and said, we will not act like second-class citizens. Persons like Dr. King and Thurgood Marshall and Senator John Lewis and Bessie Coleman, who was the first female black pilot, and Mary McLeod Bethune and Barbara Johnson and Shirley Chisholm and Patricia Bath, who is a 21st century entrepreneur, ophthalmologist, and the first person to patent that of an invention in that of medicine. These are the ones who said, we can imagine something different, and we know there's something different out there for us. It is because they championed, it is because they marched that we have elected our first African American president. It is because they marched that I stand before you today. And my very existence might not have been possible had it not been for those who paved the way for me and for you. Last year marked the 50th anniversary of what is known as Bloody Sunday. On March the 7th, 1965, the Alabama state troopers and the local police brutally assaulted some 600 African Americans who were members of Dr. King's voting rights campaign. Beaten, shocked with billy clubs, cattle prods, trampled by horses, choked by clouds of toxic gas, the marchers fell back and fled for their lives. When someone called for an ambulance, Selma's sheriff, Chief John Clark, was reported as saying, "Let the buzzards eat them." The atrocities, the inhumanity the atrocities and the inhumane behaviors towards African Americans that day was a turning point in American history because it stirred the consciousness of our nation. and it hastened the passage of that historic Voting Rights Act. We are here today because somebody marched for us. We are here today because, in the words of a radio personality, Joe Madison, we just didn't have a moment, but we had a movement. There's a difference in a moment and a movement. A movement is sacrifice. It is the sacrifice of blood, sweat, and tears so that you and I today have that privilege to vote. So we can sit down and be served at a nice 5-star restaurant. So we can go to secure a bank loan and not be marginalized. So that we can buy a home that was one time off limits, that we were only allowed to live in a certain segment of the town. So that you and I could do the things that were not afforded to us in a time where there was so much racial division. We stand today on the shoulders of giants, pioneers, game changers, persons who went against the odds, who refused to be treated as invisible citizens. I want to thank today Moses' generation, because I remember Moses, even though as great as a prophet and leader that he was, and he had a legacy of faith, and they continued to go on to the promised land, but Moses could not go. Moses was not permitted to go any further, and he had to pass the legacy on to Joshua. And as great as he was, there was yet still work to be done. And so despite all that he did, he passed the baton to Joshua because there was work to be done. And so likewise, from those builders, we have today many generations, the builders, the silent generations, those who were before me. Many of them are gone. Some of them are old and they're frail, and to be honest with you, they're weak and they're tired. And they want to pass the legacy on to the generation that is before and after, the generation that is after us. And therefore, they want us to fight because there is still work to be done. They want us to fight for equality for all people. I am a baby boomer. And baby boomers emerged from the era that was defined by civil rights. While African American baby boomers have built on the gains throughout the generations of struggle like education and employment and financial gain, there is yet still much work to do. As I look over this audience, I see many generations. Some of you are from the GI generation. There may be some of you like myself that are baby boomers. And yet there are millennials. We are here together, and together we can make a difference. This is necessary for change. There is an African word that expresses the epitome of what I hope to convey to you today. And the word is Ubuntu. Ubuntu means that you and I are connected. Ubuntu means that I cannot proceed and I cannot advance if you cannot advance. Ubuntu means that we are unified. Ubuntu means that we understand that when I succeed, you succeed. When you succeed, the community succeeds. When the community succeeds, the nation, the state succeeds. When the state succeeds, the country succeeds. When the country succeeds, the world succeeds. Somebody say Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
We recognize there's a need for change. And so, as I close, I want to leave with you a few of those necessary things that we need to do and we can do together. First of all, we must recognize our history. We celebrate Black History once a month, and we occasionally celebrate civil rights achievements. We celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, but the truth of the matter is that we must understand our history is every day. The truth is that you and I must know our history. Black history is not an annual event, but it's an everyday occurrence. We can't forget where we come from. While many of my brothers and sisters have succeeded materialistically, we must remember that money alone can never answer our problems. You must realize that there is a certain materialism alone that will not fulfill the possibilities of your existence. You have to fill it with something else. You have to fill it with the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. You've got to fill it with thinking about other people. And if we know our history, then we understand that it is the highest mark of service. You've got to have the proper self-assurance that comes in knowing that you belong to a greater whole, and that your humanity is diminished when others are humiliated and demised, and they are tortured and they are oppressed, and when others are treated as less than that of a human being. Second, our generation needs to understand the principles of equality that were set forth and that we battled for to have every day is just not a one-time thing. Our nation is broken, and it is in need of repair. We're living in great times of division and racial and economical and social and political frailty. This is an election year, and in order for change to occur, we cannot sit back on the struggles of our ancestors who fought, nor can we sit back and simply pray. You've got to put foot on your prayers. You've got to put your marching shoes on. You've got to go and vote. To change this country, we got to make a difference, and the difference begins with me and you. The final thing, as I close, Moses' generation taught us, and it reminds us of ourselves, that what we do it because God is with us. And if God is with us, then I understand whose I am and who I am. And therefore, because the greater resides in me, I can do, you can do, we can do, those who name the name of Christ, all things through Christ Jesus, who is our strength. God bless you. Thank you.